OLED, 2K resolution, ultra wide, and curved. These are all specs that are better than my personal gaming monitor and probably yours too. So of course today, we're talking about an AIO. Wait, what? Yes, this right here is the TRYX Panorama 360 ARGB, and it has a curved AMOLED display on it that apparently looks freaking incredible. Why you would want that?
We don't know.
I genuinely have no idea, but let's have a look at it. It looks like an NVIDIA box for their RTX cards. Very nice. Oh, also, 6-year warranty. I do like that quite a bit. Getting in here though, of course, the first thing that you see is the display right here, unfolding imagination. Ooh, they're even proud of their box design. Okay, besides the contrast and color of this being a bit hard on the eyes, this does look like a really well thought out little user manual here. AIOs are one of the only things where I would strongly recommend reading the instructions, because you can get really screwed up if you do something like missing a washer in a spot that it's supposed to be, or trying to put in the wrong screws into your motherboard. It can cause loads of issues, and maybe you'll find out halfway through that you need to undo everything that you just did and redo it all again because you screwed up in a little tiny way. This looks pretty easy though. We have platform support for Intel 1150X up to 1700, but not for HEDT platforms, and also of course AM4 and AM5. Now, let's put this guy over to the side for a second, just have a little look at what we have here. There's all of our stuff in nice little bags. It looks like we have a little controller. What is this for? RGB? Yep, very simple, just RGB. It does look like we have a motherboard sync, which I like to see, which means that you can have your fans go RGB without using their software, although I imagine you very much need their software to use the screen. We have some Alpha 01 thermal grease. I have no clue if this is good stuff, but we will find out soon enough. And of course, all of our mounting supplies right here. Bell, should we start installing it?
Yeah.
No, we should segue to our sponsor.
Thanks to UGREEN for sponsoring today's video. They're bringing you some fast and fun charging accessories for the new iPhone. First up is the UGREEN Uno charger 100-watt robot and its funky design that doubles as a fun desk buddy. The cute emojis on the TFT screen even change as your device charges. It delivers 100-watt fast charging through its C1 or C2 port, meaning your MacBook Pro and other Apple devices will be juiced up in no time. And that's not all. You can charge up to 4 devices at once with 3 USB-C ports and a USB-A port. They also have the Qi 2 certified Uno 15-watt wireless charger, tailor-made for Apple users. Check them out using the link in the description.
Now, to verify that our TRYX cooler is actually pretty decent, we have set up a very simple test. We have our ShortCircuit computer here, which has a 360 AIO as well. This one is from Cooler Master, and we have just run Cinebench as well as screen recorded for 30 minutes, logged the data, and we will just be testing it out right here. So here is our baseline. How easy do you think this cooler is going to be to get out of this, Bell? Looking at it, this is like kind of a small case. The ease of this job has clearly not been considered at all. Doing a speed uninstall. My apologies to Main Gear. This right here is an absolutely beautifully cable managed system, and I'm going to have to ruin most of it. I really appreciate that they taped all of these little RGB connections. These things are horrible for just coming apart. Like, look at how easy that was. And so taping them or hot gluing them makes this a way more reliable system. Good job, guys. Okay, it took a lot of doing because there was a lot of cable management, but I think, yep, we are free. There we go. We've got this Cooler Master 360 AIO that is now out, and we can install our silly one. Let's just verify that this fits right quick. This cooler is pretty standard sized, but it is ever so slightly larger than normal. Most radiators are 27, 28 millimeters thick. This one right here comes in at 30, so you get a tiny bit more performance, and it does still fit in a normal radiator position, which is great because we did not pre-check it. With the TRYX Panorama, you have 2 options of fans, not RGB or RGB, which is about an extra $10, although I think you might want to consider not getting those fans. The problem is that the standard fans have a static pressure of 3.66 millimeters of water, which is pretty standard. That is what you expect. Whereas these RGB ones have 1.8 millimeters of water, which is pretty terrible when you're trying to push a whole bunch of static pressure through a radiator. It's probably going to be fine, But that said, this is an extremely premium cooler, and I really wish that they had just put some better fans on there, because that is going to hold back performance if you want to just go all out. Main gear were nice enough to include a cutout at the back of this case, so this will be super easy. We're just going to put the little backing plate in there, and then we can screw in our little standoffs. To mount the cooler, I need to pull off the screen, just like so, under which we have a nice little fan. This right here is presumably to cool down our VRMs, like to see that. And also underneath it, we have a pump that is made by Asetek, which means it's actually going to be quite a high quality unit. Looking at this screen, it is quite large, and we can have a little look at the driver circuits right in there. Very fun. One thing that is nice about these fans is that the RGB and the fan power are combined, so you can just daisy chain them together. You don't have a whole bunch of wires coming out of it. One thing that's not so nice is that it goes into this single proprietary cable, which means that if you lose this, you are screwed. On the bottom of our cold plate, there is pre-applied thermal paste, which is very nice. That other tube was just if you want to apply it again. But one thing that I've realized that's a little bit unfortunate is that your tubes need to be at the bottom of the AIO. If you look at it, this right here goes on such that it is like that. And you definitely want to have this great big bit, you know, showing the front and the side of the screen at all times, instead of it being like that. Like, I want the tubes to go up and around, but I do not want a screen to just be facing the GPU. So instead, we're gonna have to do it kind of weird, like they're gonna have to come across here, out in front. It's very clear that they only thought to have this up in the top because it's gonna be pretty strange looking now that we have a radiator in the front. Man, I really wish I could put them somewhere else. Can you go around? Maybe it's salvageable. We shall see. Can I get this guy on with the tubes over there? Go on. Get on there. I don't think that's gonna happen. Go over there. Does it just slide on now? Yep, sure does. I can't do anything with those. Well, it is what it is. All right, I think we are all good. Time to turn it on and see if it has all worked. RGB on the fans working perfectly. Those are all good. I hear it pumping, so that, oh, there we go. Look at that. What a silly thing. Android system update. There we go. The tubes are out of the way. The system is up to date. When it was updating, we briefly saw that this is running Android for some reason. So I guess that you could get hacked through the display on your AIO, but that's not something that I'm personally going to be too concerned about because it looks pretty frickin' cool in there. Let's have a little play. What can we put on here? Migration, what is this? Oh, very cool. You know what? At full brightness, this thing actually looks pretty darn good. Let's do a peel here. Oh yeah, that was satisfying. Now they do say that it can do a 3D effect where it is actually using that this corner is physically closer to you than the edges, and it kind of expands stuff around here. I don't know how convincing that is, but it is a thing that they say. Another thing, this is a 60 Hertz display, so it's actually really nice and smooth. A lot of little AIO screens that I've seen before will have low refresh rates, and they just cannot deliver what this has. That is a good little display. Spend some time playing around with the stuff so you can have your system info displayed right here. So we have our CPU temp, frequency, and the date and time. And also, as you can see, you can upload custom images like this beauty right here. You also can split it, so we can have two of him on here. Let's see how this goes. Haha, perfect. What a beautiful thing. I am so glad that technology has brought us this. Oh, I can have a whole bunch of info on here. Wow. So yeah, this is a thing that you can do. One thing that programs like this can be awful for is just using up a whole bunch of your CPU resources, even though they're just doing something stupid like putting Linus's face on a screen. For the most part, it's been doing pretty good, but now that I'm doing file processing of a video, It's using up a fair bit of the CPU, so hopefully running videos on this will not be too taxing. Damn, all right. I put our GR Corolla video on it, and I guess that you can just run that. And one thing that is fortunate is that it's only using like 1% CPU usage while we are playing an actual video on it, which is not too bad. I have seen much worse from RGB software before. All right, I think we are good to find out if this thing is any good. I do have to say, I really like the display bit of it. But of course, if your CPU runs hot, then who cares? I do have it set up so that it's connected to the same ports on the motherboard as the other cooler was, so it should be a pretty good apples to apples test. So far, so good. We're looking at 75 degrees Celsius on the CPU, and we are also looking at me showing off a Toyota Corolla GR. So, wow. What other cooler can do that? All right, the screen cooler is doing a pretty darn good job. If we look at it here, in the red is the previous Cooler Master cooler, and in the green, we have our TRYX OLED cooler. If we look at this here, for the most part, it seems like that this is around like 73, 75 degrees, whereas the Cooler Master was sitting much more around like 76 to 80 degrees. You can very easily tell there's like a 3 to 5 degree difference all the way through here. And also the powers are just a couple of watts more, going just above 200 instead of just below it. So it is very marginal in an improvement, but it's also not terrible. And when you're going for a cooler that has a great big screen on it, not being terrible is kind of all that you need. What you also need is a whole lot of money. Now, on other sites, I have seen it quoted that this is around $370 or so, but the lowest that we have found it was on AliExpress for $515. So, with any luck, you'll be able to find it more in that $300 and a bit range, because you'll probably be giving up a bit of performance compared to something like a top tier Asus one, but at the same time, look at that frickin' display. But for $500, oof, you have to really, really want that display. Just like how I really want you to hit like, get subscribed, and just have a great old day. I'll see you guys later.